Well, what has influenced Zambia to have actually good numbers of tourists arriving in Zambia is basically the strategy that we have put behind. And one of them, obviously, we've been coming to WTM for many years now. And this is where we actually make sure that the private sector can actually have the bookings, can actually have the interactions between agents that sell Zambia. That's one of the strategies. But secondly is that we have been very big on MICE strategy. So meetings, incentives, conventions, and also events that are happening in Zambia. So we've had a lot of events which we have influenced through the government. It could be at Africa level. For example, we had also conferences like the Democracy Conference, which involved the whole world leaders coming into Zambia. COMESA as well, which is Common Market for Eastern and Southern Africa, meetings happening in Zambia. We are very deliberate about many meetings happening within Zambia. So that is adding actually to the tourists. But above all, I think the private sector has been very bullish to go out there in more markets, attracting many tourists to come to Zambia. So that is what has influenced the tourists to come. Wildlife is a very important subsector for us in the tourism sector. In wildlife itself, we have 20 national parks in Zambia and 36 game management areas and 2 bird sanctuaries. But what we've been doing in terms of regeneration is to be able to translocate wildlife from one park to the other, obviously to be able to help our gene pool, one, but also to ensure that the areas which are depleted can actually have more wildlife. As you know how wildlife is when it comes to cats, and also even whether it's to big mammals like elephants, some of them, the big predators, or they lose some of the areas that they are there, but they are trying to find new haven places where they can be able to hide. And we've been translocating that from one park to the other. And we are very big on conservation management partners. We're working with Africa Parks Network, Frankfurt Zoological Society from Germany. And these are partners that are helping us to translocate many mammals, cats, and many other wildlife species to be able to make sure that our gene pool improves, but also to ensure that our parks can actually be regenerated to improve the sightings when the tourists go to these areas. There are a lot of hotels because of the incentives that we are putting in Zambia to ensure that investors can come and open up new hotels. For example, there's a hotel just within town, but Hilton Hotels will be able to run that. But also there are many other areas that they've actually put in more hotels. In Livingstone itself, we have new hotels that might come up in a year or two. Private sector are working on that. Of course, I'm not here to really sell individual hotels, but I'll tell you that there are more hotels happening in Zambia. If you go actually to South Ruangwa National Park, Chichele Presidential Suite, for example, has been refurbished. There are new hotels that are actually at even lodges, really prime lodges in South Ruangwa National Park, Lower Zambezi National Park that have opened up. Lolebezi can come to mind. It's really a very good hotel. But also Africa Parks in Liua National Park, they've opened up another lodge there, Liua, and also the King Lewanika that has been there. There are so many actually. I'll tell you that in our prime locations like Lower Zambezi National Park, you'll find new lodges and new hotels opening up. In Itezi, you'll find new lodges opening up. In Kafiwe National Park, new lodges opening up. But above all, even the bigger hotels that are within the city, even on the Copper Belt, we just launched a new hotel there in the city center. So we are adding to more beds in our country and many key rooms in our country. So that is working very positively for us. In the next 5 years, because of the incentives that we have put in place, we expect private sector really to take advantage of the incentives that we have put in. For example, with our Zambia Development Agency, if you want to invest, the investment pledge that you will have, and also the incentives that we have put in. For example, if you are building a hotel duty-free, issues that we have put in place. You can be able to buy, for example, if you want to do safari, the vehicles are duty-free, brand new, you'll be able to invest in there. But also from every fixture and fittings that you put in the hotel, regardless of where you are getting them from. If you are importing those and you actually basically be able to be given a tourism development or enterprise license to operate in Zambia, you'll be able to bring in all those fixtures and fittings free of duty. So we are helping you. It means we are kickstarting your business. And this is what we mean by making sure that the cost of doing business in Zambia is reduced. But again, we are focusing on what we are working with private sector to ensure that private and public sector are on one desk, talking about the incentives, talking about all these things that are not making sure that the cost of doing business is reduced. We work together in a collaborative manner, and that's why in the next 5 years we'll continue to push with private sector so that they can invest much more in the areas. And we are opening a lot more tourism development areas. We are investing in much more. We are doing the basic infrastructure to open up all those areas up north, south, west, all over Zambia. We want tourism to open up because it is an economic sector for Zambia. Travel power, for me to sum it up, is basically the world visiting amongst themselves. We want the world to come to Zambia. This is why we're here at WTM. This is where the whole world is converging, and we feel that as we have these interactions, as we talk to one another, as we invite each other to visit our amazing places like Zambia, travel power is when people travel out of their home countries and see more places around the world.